It's Monday, guys.
Yo, what's up, everybody? It is Monday, August 18th. We've got a special guest today. We've got Ryan Fox, Bloomberg analyst.
Fox up, corrugated.
Fox up. We're going to talk about falling cardboard sales and what they reveal, and finally, why Bloomberg calls it cardboard, because that's what it is. All right, so we're gonna get into it. Cardboard shipments in Q2 are at the weakest in 10 years. So, all right, man. Ryan, good morning. How are you doing?
Doing great, thanks. How about yourself?
I'm doing pretty good, dude. Super stoked to get into this. Corey, what's up, man? How you doing this morning?
I'm excited to talk about corrugated containers,
Cardboard.
corrugated boxes, corrugated.
Adam, what's up, man?
Let me just tell you why this is the worst. One more time, I swear. I'm just gonna walk off this show.
He's out of here.
That's it.
Take your labels and shove it.
Stickers,
Stickers.
cardboard.
Stickers for life.
I don't give up a half an hour every morning to deal with this, Avelio.
That's the best 10 seconds of my day. What are you talking about? All right, man.
I'm professional on those, so we should probably keep it corrugated.
Oh yeah, forgot my time.
All right, dude. So what do we got going on? We've got cardboard sales are down. We've got 30 minutes. You're going to solve everything, Ryan.
Right.
All the problems.
All the
Tell us the secrets, the stuff you can't tell us. Tell us that stuff.
That's it.
Yeah.
It's just us and Hugh.
So apparently the biggest problem is there's a lack of certainty. And apparently this is new to me, but maybe businesses want to have a certain level of certainty.
What?
You know, they feel like having a good known path forward is good for the economy.
Yeah.
I disagree. Your thoughts, Corey.
I actually agree. I think it's important. We need to create a environment where they will feel comfortable investing and trying new things, buying packaging for once.
Yeah, but if there's that uncertainty, I mean, brands are kind of at a standstill.
Yeah.
Whether it's even people deciding whether to start a company,
Mm-hmm.
even like at the startup level, people are on hold at this point.
Nobody told me. I would be uncertain.
So part of the uncertainty was around the president's policy on tariffs, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think coming into this year, after Trump was elected, there was a lot of very positive feelings that were coming from box makers. They were experiencing, I think, a certain amount of positive feelings coming from their customers. I think everyone was like, yes, all right, we're going to turn this around. We're going to do something great. Now, whether those feelings were good or accurate, that's somebody else's job. That's not mine. I'm just the data guy, right? So the data was everybody felt really positive. Within about 3 weeks of election, we start hearing a lot of this tariff noise, and then the rest is details. And this year, January came out pretty strong. The last fall was iffy, but January came out strong. It was up a little bit. I think people were showing that optimism in January, but then February fell 5.5% year over year. March was down 1.5% year over year. April down 3.1%. May down 4.6%, and June was flat-ish, up 0.2%.
So just to take a step back, Ryan, when you're saying it was up and then it was down, like what exactly are we talking about?
So we're talking about shipments of corrugated boxes in terms of billions of square feet.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we make so much material, so much corrugated fiberboard, so much.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
Bloomberg calls it cardboard, so we're sticking with it.
So So that about nine. Oh, yeah, I think it's like 90-ish% of all of the corrugated is single wall. About 9% is double wall, and about 1% is triple wall. And maybe laminated bulk bins will get lumped into triple wall, but it's a pretty small segment. Anyway, 90% single wall. That means like if you could dice this thing up into a 12-inch wide, like perpetual line, it would be like to the moon and back 27 times or something like that. Could you imagine just one long sheet of corrugated just wrapping around the world?
That's my goal.
Yeah, it would be pretty fantastic.
That's
But
a lot of packaging.
I think we should do that. Let's do
because
that.
boxes come in a
You heard it
bazillion
here
different
first.
shapes and sizes, it's impossible to talk about the quantity outside of footage or tonnage. So we aggregate it up into big round numbers like that. And there is some seasonality to it. So some months are better than others. The worst month of the year for box shipments would be Quiz. What do you think?
December.
Oh, that sounds like a Can We Solve It segment.
Can we solve it?
Oh,
Man. What is the worst month of the year for box shipments in absolute?
How can we know?
Probably January.
I'm gonna say
November.
August.
Okay, so closest, his guess. The worst month is February. November is also towards the bottom of the list.
Is that just February has less dates except for that weird?
Yeah, that's because it's shorter.
It's also because the first quarter is kind of a reset. But anyway, there's some seasonality, right?
Just FYI here.
Yeah,
I said February and November.
And cardboard.
Two of the worst.
That's right. Called it.
Does anybody know the best month?
Hugh agrees with me.
I'll let you guys.
October.
Saturday.
October it is. No, October it is. Corey hits it out of the park.
Dang it.
Nice.
I mean, you got to be right sometimes.
So
So
that being the case,
by the way, it's an awesome sports month. Also, Avelio knows this. It's maybe the best.
I just know packaging. That's it.
Yeah,
Life is packaging.
You're talking about the World Series, Adam?
You got NBA, NHL start. You've got college football, NFL football are going, and then you have the World Series. It's a fantastic month for sports. Yay, sports!
There we go.
So how have tariffs impacted cardboard at this point?
God, you just said how Are you not paying?
Well, so there's two things.
But there's different ways, right?
Yeah. So the first thing is, if you go back 30 years, we didn't import that much stuff 30 years ago. And we import a lot of stuff now. And these imports, whether it's a part or whether it's a whole, or it's a very important part of our broader economy, especially in manufacturing.
But you're not talking about importing raw materials for the corrugate itself.
Not the raw materials, just
Finished
the stuff
goods
that goes in it. Yeah. So the stuff that we're buying.
Right? Stop interrupting and let the man cook. Go ahead, please.
He's cooking
chops. All right,
so think about how much of the stuff that we buy that comes from another country. It's a lot, whether it's a banana or a computer or a television or fill in the blank. It comes from all over the place. America just doesn't make a lot of stuff anymore. And in fact, there are like 500,000 open jobs in manufacturing, even right now.
Wow.
So
I didn't know that.
Yeah, we still need people to go into manufacturing. Manufacturing jobs are awesome, and they can be great paying jobs. Yes. So that affects stuff coming into the country, but it also has a reciprocal effect, right? Where other countries see that we're tariffing their stuff and they go, whoa, hold on a second. And we saw this a lot with our friend to the north, where we put some tariffs on stuff coming in from Canada, and they said, oh, okay, dude can play at that game. And they legitimately pulled stuff off their shelves. So this happened in a lot of instances all over the world. Like, we disrupted global trade. And again, you talk about that certainty. If you have a customer who flat out just says, yeah, we're not going to buy your stuff anymore. Well, that kind of shuts down, your ability to forecast and plan production and buy all the materials and
disaster.
Yeah. So we saw In fact, we've seen some mill closures this year. In fact, we've got about 2.5 million tons of mill closures. I mean, it's a significant reset where demand, if we think about this a little bit differently. So rewind the tape in your head and go back to the early days of the pandemic and maybe the first half of 2021, where there's still kind of this mandatory lockdown. We've got some stimulus money. You don't have the ability to take your kids to Taylor Swift concerts. You couldn't do a whole lot.
Yeah, you're just buying.
But you could buy a lot of stuff online. Well, if we compare the first half of 2021 to the first half of 2025, box shipments are down over 11%. This is significant kind of reframe that happened here. And there's a couple things that happened. Obviously, there's inflation, there's monetary policy with interest rates going up. There's quite a bit we could talk about, and it would be more than a half an hour. But
that's year over year, based on last year.
Well, so it's down 11% if you compare it to 2021. Right?
2021.
So if you compare it to last year, we're down about 2.3%. And so this is kind of the rub, right? Where we talk about increasing retail sales or increasing e-commerce sales. The hard part is box shipments are down. And
maybe they're more back to normal. Is that
well,
possible?
We're on a 2015 pace for box shipments. Yeah. Okay. So we're not even like a quote normal pre-pandemic pace. We're on.
So you're saying we're great again?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So, but I think so when we talk about like corrugate being down, like people go to retail.
Are you trying to make our guest upset by?
He is. Every time he says it.
This is like having a pastor on and just cursing the whole time and trying.
It's actually my job. That's what I do. No, but like I don't want to. If we talk about corrugate and volume being down, I think for the most part, when people see this, they think retail, right? We're not buying enough, blah blah blah.
Right.
But there's a bigger component of that, which is exports. And I don't know that people necessarily see the two.
We don't really export a lot of goods here. Do you know what the number one export from the United States is?
Software.
Well, in terms of like when we ship containers, containers out,
Christmas trees,
oil, tears.
Well, the number one export is actually empty containers. Like 60% of the containers that leave the U.S. are empty.
Like my dreams.
No, they're not. They have air in them.
Air. So everyone likes to breathe American air, apparently, But after that, we have things like recycled paper and recycled plastics and petroleum products. And
quick question from Chris Olson. Are smaller packaging businesses disproportionately affected by tariffs compared to larger multinational firms?
I don't believe so.
Okay. My question that I brought up last week that Avelio is finally going to let me ask is any of this
go to commercial?
Yeah. Are any of these numbers impacted by like some of the lightweighting, like the e-commerce? So I used to get everything in a corrugated box, and now I get most things in a mailer, a paper mailer, or some sort of poly mailer. So are e-commerce shipments and numbers bad, or is it just the box numbers and the
right sizing?
Yeah, can we spin this in a way that doesn't show that the economy is slowing down?
No, because reason I'm asking, here's the reason I'm asking is I had an economist on. And she was great, and she told me point blank, we're tracking all of the various numbers. They have thousands of numbers, and she said we're not heading towards a recession. The numbers don't indicate that we are going to have a recession in 2025 or 2026. You guys can go back and listen to it on the People of Packaging podcast. And so I'm not asking this to like spin numbers. I'm saying like I had somebody who was like nonpartisan, just we're not tracking towards a recession in the U.S. And she said to me, tariffs will not impact our economy positively or negatively. It's just a thing that's going to happen. I was like, oh, interesting. That's so. I guess I'm curious about like, how do we, if we can look at the data from various angles and say corrugated numbers are down, and part of that may be because of right sizing and other things.
Yep. So that's certainly that does have some merit, right? I've definitely seen, especially Amazon packages showing up in paper mailers, even in plastic mailers. They're not limited. Any other e-commerce platform could be doing the same thing. In fact, I get a subscription to a night guard, and they went from a corrugated box to a poly mailer, which I didn't know why they were shipping it in a corrugated box to begin with, because it's just a rubber mouth guard. But it could be that could.
You have EPR, you have tariffs, you have all this downward price pressure coming into brands, and so they might be forced to actually do the thing we've been asking them to do, which is reduce packaging, right size their packaging. I mean, the cost of freight has gone up, and so there are a lot of economic incentives for brands to actually use less corrugated packaging, because it is bigger, heavier, and all that kind of stuff. So anyway,
there's a but, right? The lion's share of the corrugated box use in this country comes from all of our household brands. The stuff, I mean, by my estimates, if you were to look at a grocery store, what goes through a grocery store is somewhere in the round like 50% of box consumption range. And so then I look at those companies as like the biggest litmus test of how well will box shipments do. And many of those companies are still seeing lack of growth. They're just, their volumes aren't moving up. We're seeing a lot of promotion in grocery stores, and not just like buy one, get one, buy two, get two, buy two, get three. So you're talking 50 and 60% off across a wide variety of products, everything from your sodas to shredded cheese. It doesn't really make a difference. If you pay attention to what's on promotion, you'll see what they're trying to move and why.
Yeah. Right. I would recommend, by the way, because I see some. I'm not trying to make like some sort of like political comment here. It was Lauren Seidel Baker. She's from ITR Economics. They have a ton of stuff out there. So that was the episode that I had where she was like, "This isn't a partisan thing," and obviously, Ryan, you're not making any sort of like political or partisan. You're just following data, right? So
this has nothing to do with who the president is. You can like him or not like him. I don't really care about that. I just follow. I care about boxes. That's what I study for 50 hours a week.
Yeah.
So all right. So this report, I know the report is labeled the cardboard report. Where does the material end? Are we talking like just corrugated, or does it go into boxboard? Like how far does this reach?
Well, I mean, it is going to have some repercussions into things like boxboard, right? I mean, when you think about what's going to go through a grocery store, that's where all of the boxboard is as well. And we've seen similar trends in boxboard where it's not a great year for boxboard.
Like you said, food sales are down. I'm thinking cereal boxes.
And the thing you got to ask yourself is why are food sales down?
People are hurting financially, right? Yeah.
It could be GLP-1. It could be that a lot of Americans have a mountain of debt, and it turns out, it's like what is that old Saturday Night Live had that skit? Don't buy stuff you can't afford.
Chris Rock. That was amazing.
Yeah. It's kind of like that, where people buy stuff when they have money, and we call that brain fart. Real personal disposable income, and you don't have a lot of that. The average American doesn't have a lot of that real personal disposable income.
No, but everybody here has a credit. People don't even
but
their bank account.
Credit debt is at an all-time high. And do you want to put your groceries on a credit card unless you're going to pay it off?
Pay it off. Have you been here long? People don't pay off their credit cards in this country. What are you talking about? They carry like 20 grand at 18% and just go McDonald's and DoorDash and all that other stuff.
Right.
But I don't know. That's my opinion, just from my data that I've seen.
So I had to look up some of this information on like the pressure sensitive label market in the US, which obviously impacts food, beverage, a lot of, and that has been growing year over year with US, and we don't import a lot of pressure sensitive labels, right? You don't print a lot of labels overseas.
Just the backer material, right? Or just the material?
There's obviously aspects of it that are impacted by tariffs for sure. And that's experiencing pretty steady growth year over year. And I know that's not the area that you focus on, Ryan, but I think this is where I think it's important for us to actually create an ecosystem of data, right? Like, don't just go after data that supports whatever your belief is, right? Like, take in all of the available data that you can and say, okay, what's real? So
you mean like think for yourself?
It's
like,
a crazy idea, but like,
I don't get it.
Certain things have gone up in cost, certain things have come down in cost. Certain aspects of the packaging industry, like the corrugated market, are experiencing a decline. Plant closures, other aspects are experiencing, flexible packaging, pressure sensitive labels, shrink sleeves are growing year over year. And so I just think it's important that we take all of the information. We're talking about boxes right now, but that's not the single indicator of the economy. And I've even seen some stuff on LinkedIn that's like box sales are down, the economy is tanking, and it's like,
I'm not going to go that far. I mean, because here's what we don't know, right? I don't have any data to show me that boxes aren't being replaced by things like returnable plastic containers.
Right.
We've seen, like, in the single use, right? We've seen paper mailers, we've seen plastic mailers, we've seen those become more common in the broader context. But again, just zoom out a little bit, let's look at how much is going through UPS, FedEx, US Postal Service, even Amazon Logistics. Are those numbers up or down? UPS and FedEx, not up. They're a little bit down. Yeah. So I think when you start pulling in different data sources, you start going, wait a second.
Yeah.
I don't have to be worried, but we should probably take this for a pretty compelling.
It's a real deal.
Source. Right. Yeah, this is real. I mean, when major companies that manufacture food, and they typically use corrugated boxes to ship the food from their manufacturing site through distribution to a retail store, when that volume does not go up, or if it's going down, it should be a trigger to you. And so, kind of full circle here. When that box makes it to the grocery store, to a Walmart or Target, wherever, they break that box down, they put it in a baler, and then they sell it into the aftermarket. And that price, OCC, you down with OCC?
Down with OCC, right?
Is the value of that recycled material then coming down because there's not enough demand pulling?
Yes. But here's the thing. It's partially stabilized because we're not generating as much supply, right? So if we were buying that much, we would be making more and more OCC, which would cause the price to go down because demand hasn't been great. Earlier this year, what we saw was, in the second quarter specifically, a lot of the OCC was turned away by U.S. mills, and they exported it instead. And there are a lot of countries that really want our old boxes. We make a lot of virgin boxes in the U.S. You can't grow southern yellow pine in some countries, and so they want to get that fiber in to turn it into a new box. And so we export almost 10 million tons a year of old corrugated boxes.
Of the corrugated boxes that we do make in this country, like, do you know what the percentage is of recycled content in this?
So we are getting close to having, I got to recalculate now because there's been so many mill closures, but we were getting close to about 18 million tons of total recycled capacity. And we know from mill data that, there is some fiber loss. So you can't just put 18 million tons in and get 18 million tons out.
Right.
So we're going to consume somewhere around 22 million tons through the mills to make that 18 million tons. Surprisingly, maybe you knew this, maybe you didn't, but sometimes people put stuff in those bales that isn't corrugated.
What?
We've seen bowling balls and engines and car parts and
Engines.
yeah,
Car transmission was my favorite that I heard from
yeah,
the
it's a real thing.
cycle in Boulder.
I was at a paper mill and saw a bumper that came out of a bale. So
Did it have any bumper labels on it? Bumperlabels.net for all of your.
Oh man, bumper
For all of your
labels,
bumper
dot
labels.
sticker.
All right. So with all these declining shipments, as a cautionary flag, what's the opening? So like what's the opportunity now? Is it time to rethink like sizing, scaling, your supply chain? Like what should brands be considering at this point?
certainty would be a wonderful thing, having some sort of feeling that they can know what the future may hold for them. A shameless plug for us. We have a new product that will help them when it comes to pricing. We have this algorithm that we put together that speaks to about 93% of the reasons why price moves, and will give them a greater sense of clarity when it comes to pricing dynamics. So that's probably the first thing I would say. Like, hey, if you're not following our index, it's probably a pretty good thing to think about.
Is that the holistic box cost?
It is. So it's an index. So it's not a price, right? So we look at some more macroeconomic data, and we've closely correlated those back to what we see for box prices.
Such a great service.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so I think that's probably a really good place to start. If you're dealing with your packaging suppliers, having conversations with them about what you're seeing for demand, and having those very frank conversations and saying, hey, we're seeing a pullback. We need to change our order quantities, or, hey, EPR is here. What can we do to minimize our exposure to EPR laws? A logical outcome for EPR will be lightweighting. Right. So, going from if we're talking about a regular 32 ECT box, instead of it being made from like a 35, 26, 35 liner and medium combination, going down to like a 30, 23, 30, or
only if she's 5'3".
That's right.
I was waiting
well
for
played.
that.
Well played. So things like that will be helpful. But, one of our subscribers, I interviewed them a while back, and he made a great comment to me. He's like, true sustainability starts in the lab. And so you can't just like carte blanche go, oh, well, we're just lightweight. Like, you really have to go to a packaging lab, create something, test it, make sure it passes, because there are a lot of really clever ways to strengthen a box and yet still make it lighter in weight.
So if I'm a brand and I'm hearing this or I'm reading this and box demand is down, the value of recycled content is down, that would be like downward pressure on the overall paper board environment. So I wouldn't necessarily expect my supplier to be like, hey, there's a 10% paper increase coming up. Like,
so I think this is part of the reason why there was a juggling of mill capacity. There are a lot of old paper mills in the US, some that were, legacy sites that were started 100 years ago. And the machines are small, they're slow. They just don't compete with some of the newer machines. We wrote recently that there's a mill site that's got 3 machines, and it does 44% of the output of one of their competitors' machine through one machine, just because of the newness factor, right? The new ones are so much bigger. You're talking 330 plus inches wide. So you're making 3 distinct rolls of paper at one time, and at blazing speeds. These guys are just cranking out tons. And so there's a bit of a structural reset that's happening as demand goes down. It's we're all about the same age. If you guys ever remember Father Guido Sarducci,
whoa,
little SNL reference here.
Yes.
So
supply and demand. Demand is down and we got a lot of supply, so you close out the supply that's just really high cost and inefficient, or needs lots and lots of investment. And so that's what we've seen with some of these mills that have closed, is they were either really high cost, or maybe they were just aimed at the export market, one of the mills that closed recently was shipping almost 400,000 tons into China. And when the Chinese tariffs happened and the reciprocal tariffs, it literally just cut a lot of that market off. So there are things like that. That's kind of a structural reset that happens. And yes, part of that is to realign supply with demand so that they don't have to take economic downtime or continue to close mills. And economic downtime is not just flipping a switch and be like, oh, well, look at that, we saved all this money. A virgin paper mill is actually more like a chemical plant with paper as a byproduct. And so you just can't turn that off.
But as a brand, should I expect my packaging costs to come down?
Right now,
assessment.
Right now, with the methodologies that's in place, they have not recognized any price declines.
Is it a time to shop around because suppliers are hurting?
Well, a lot of suppliers work on long contracts, 2 or 3 year contracts. We have been seeing this year when those contracts are coming up that they are shopping them. And, that is an opportunity to kind of reset the market price.
Yeah. And to your point about certainty, if you're uncertain, you're probably going to be buying less of the material. And so therefore your costs are going to go up on a per box basis. And so you wouldn't necessarily see that price decrease because you're going to be buying less because of uncertainty, right?
And that's the other side of this, is that when they do go out shopping, sometimes they are choosing a different supplier that may have a quicker turnaround time. They may have some sort of a more compelling case than just price alone. Because if somebody can turn a box order over in 48 hours or 40, like 4 days or something like that, but your current supplier was at 3 or 4 weeks, certainly that pricing is less relevant to having a quicker turnaround time and a more just in time.
Less cash tied up in inventory.
Correct.
Got it.
So there are a lot of factors at play here, and we do think that there will continue to be bidding and RFQs and there will be some shopping. But when you're talking again, when you talk about the household brands where these guys are buying the lion's share of the boxes, how many places can they go to get a vendor to? So if they have 30 operating companies around the country, who's going to be able to do that?
Right.
Yeah. So all right, so we got to wrap this up, guys. If you need corrugate, give me a call because it's time for you to shop around.
Mr. Corrugated. Yeah.
just kidding. Ryan, man, thank you so much for being on here, dude. There's so much.
My pleasure.
Like we see this come across, whether it's on LinkedIn or through Bloomberg. You see this and you're like, well, what does this actually mean? So thank you for coming on here and explaining this. Got a quick comment here from Michael. Says only a couple major printers for corrugate in US, and my client has no choice but to stick with the one that can supply materials. Yeah, that's kind of.
I would say my only shameless plug is in a few weeks I'll be talking with the folks from EFI about some in their pack size. Stop it. Doing a quick webinar on that because I do think there's a lot of opportunity for this type of innovation.
On demand boxes,
with contract manufacturers and also filling, contract or co-packers. So it'll be and e-commerce, 3PL type stuff. So it's super fascinating, the type of innovation that I think we might see over the next few years.
Sounds good. So if you, again, just reiterate some of the stuff, rethink your packaging, whether it's downsize, lightweighting, now's the time to start considering that. Demand new metrics. I think the Bloomberg's index is definitely something to look at and get a bigger picture view, and then just align your packaging with real world demands. Don't overbuy at the moment. And we're on our way to being great again, according to Ryan. Punch.
Oh my god.
Oh my goodness.
All right, guys. Thank you guys so much.
Are we still live?
We'll see you tomorrow. I know I can't end this thing fast enough.